We've all had that slip of the tongue. You've said something you wouldn't necessarily say, and you wish you could just eat it back.
Oh boy, yeah. Open mouth, insert foot.
Been there,
right?
done that.
Absolutely, we all have. And while these comments are usually just swept under the rug and they pass quickly, well, there are times when they're truly taken the wrong way. We don't want that to happen. Mommy expert Jeneba Ghatt is here to talk about the thing. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Oh, you were shaking your head. To say the things that you should never say to a pregnant woman.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure there are plenty of those, Jeneba.
Yes,
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
All right, so first of all, we don't want to go anywhere weight related because a lot of women are a little sensitive about that.
But somehow that happens.
Yes. Yeah, definitely all the time. I think something about when you become visibly pregnant, you almost become community property in the form, and then everyone feels comfortable going up to you, saying whatever they want, give you pieces of advice or tips, offering to touch your belly. It's just common, but people mean well when they do that. They don't, they just don't realize the impact of their words, and so.
That's the biggest thing I heard from my sister who has 2 kids, is like once she started showing, everybody thought that they could just invade her space and be like, oh, so cute. It's like, I don't know you, just strangers.
Right, so I have a list of top 10 things that you should not avoid saying.
Okay, well, start at the top.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Number 1, you still look good. And apparently there is some perception that at some point while you're pregnant, perhaps maybe your 8th or 9th month in your pregnancy, you're going to start looking haggard, start taking care of yourself, and your hair is going to look all a mess. And so people will come up to pregnant women and just say, wow, you still look good, like they're surprised.
Well, that is terrible because it really does imply that they are not going to look good as their pregnancy progresses.
Right.
Either because they're going to get huge or whatever. Like you said, their hair could be a mess.
Or because you're bigger, you're automatically not pretty. Or you don't look good. I mean, everybody comes in all shapes and sizes,
Which
right?
is actually the antithesis to pregnant women look gorgeous.
Exactly.
And they often have this glow about them. Right.
Hair shining.
Yeah.
Number 2, this is good. Was this an accident or were you even trying?
Right. I think, that's a
burn.
Yeah, it's a burn. It's a very sensitive topic. And what I would advise folks who encounter pregnant women to think about when they, have that thought in their head is to consider, what you're asking about is the form of conception. Like, take me back to when you were conceiving this child and tell me what was your intention. And so if you think about it in that terms, you know that it's really not a kosher thing to say, and you think about it.
Oh, definitely not. All right, let's talk about eating, because if we're sitting there eating next to a pregnant person and they're eating something that maybe we think they shouldn't eat, like maybe a glass of wine or a donut or something like that.
Right.
Don't want to say anything, do we?
No, you want to be careful about that. And I think what happens is in this era where there's a lot of information to come at us daily, a lot of time, whether you're pregnant or whether you're a man or anything, you get a lot of information through online about pregnancy, about pregnant women, about children. And so everyone's an expert. And when you see a pregnant woman, you want to, give her your thoughts and opinion. And it often happens when a pregnant woman is in a coffee shop. But there are rules that say you can have a cup of coffee a day if you want, but that's one of the things. You want to avoid that. Most likely she would have consulted with her obstetrician, and she would have, seen lots and lots of books and know what.
And the rules have changed, and the research has changed since my mom had a child. There's different things that now doctors say you can and can't do.
And you're not her doctor, and it's none of your business, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So who told you couldn't have donuts when you were pregnant?
Oh, that's true.
I've never heard that. Where the heck did you hear that?
I mean, people that are trying to watch their weight through.
Oh, okay. I was like, a donut. Come on, if you're pregnant,
I'm
eat
just
the donut.
talking about the whole weight thing.
I thought you meant sugar intake.
No,
all right, moving on, because I'm going to eat plenty of donuts when you're pregnant. Number 5, number 4, share horrible labor stories and delivery horror stories.
Yes.
This is a no-no.
This is a no-no. Because a lot of times people hear those labor stories, they may have undergone them themselves, or delivery stories, and they don't have any other context of which to discuss it in. So when they see a pregnant woman, it's like, I have the perfect story, you're pregnant, and it reminds me of the time that my aunt said about da-da-da. But, when you're pregnant, you're in a vulnerable state, you have a lot of hormones going through your body, and you're about to give birth, and it is a trying endeavor, and you don't want to hear about all the things that can go wrong. Maybe after they have the baby, you can share and swap stories, and then that's a safe time. But before they have the kid, you might want to not do that. So.
Okay, although I have to say I kind of wished somebody had told me about labor before I went through it, because I was kind of not expecting it to be that bad. And it was.
Was your first really that bad?
Yeah. And I was like, how come people didn't tell me about this?
You had them regular?
You mean the contractions?
Yeah.
You mean
vaginal?
versus
Yeah. How long were you in labor?
Forever, you know, and I was just like totally wiped when it was over with.
And nowadays there's so much information out there that, you know, if you have to almost by accident not know what's going on. And then a lot of websites also are being more candid and open about just, you know, the gritty stuff.
This is what happens.
Like, this is really what happens, not the sugar-coated stuff you see in books. It's like, no, you know, here you go. And that's, you know, that's important. So, you know, hopefully more moms to be so.
Are you telling me that I had babies so long ago that we didn't have this information?
No, my mom has shared me the information, which makes me double think everything.
Oh, that's good. It's good to have that around.
Good and bad.
Appreciate your moms, right?
Yeah. Okay, number 6. Were you on a fertility treatment?
Right.
This is different for this age and time because a lot of people are going through IVF and things like that.
And usually when someone asks this question, it's they're asking of a woman who may be in a committed relationship and haven't had a child for a while. So there's an assumption that perhaps they had trouble having and conceiving that child, or if it's in a case of an older woman, and you know they're going through the thoughts that, okay, they're, you know, having their first child, was this conceived naturally or was there assisted from science? But it's such a sensitive topic. You know, it's very, you know, people, again, you're vulnerable, and women sometimes feel, you know, like they're failures if they can't conceive, and so that's just a subject that you may not want to broach. If the mom is comfortable with you, you may find out later on naturally, but that's not a question that your coworker just comes out and says to you. If you can avoid it, you know, just, you know, wait till they tell or share it with you, or, you know, and if not, why do you even know, really?
That's what I was going to say. It seems like a lot of these questions go into the area of it's not your business, you know.
Unless they bring it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless they offer it up, right?
Yes. Right.
All right, let's talk about the sex of the baby, because nowadays, with modern testing, people know what the sex is before it arrives. So if you have had, say, a boy, and now you're going to have a girl, I mean, is it appropriate to say something like, oh, I bet you're happy you're having a girl this time, or something to that effect?
Usually, sometimes, especially if it's a person who had a girl and then they have another girl, they may have some issues with their spouse or other, you know, concerns about, you know, wanting to have had a child of the opposite gender, and it could be sensitive. So, you know, if someone tells you, you know, they're having a girl, by then it's too late, you know, whether, you know, how they feel about it or not. So asking, so is that what you wanted? It's just kind of like a moot point at that point.
No,
like,
I really don't want him, but I'm hoping for the next baby.
Exactly. Yeah, if you think about it that way, it's like, you know, do you really want to draw out them that, no, I don't want this child, you know, and that having a healthy child is a blessing. Being able to carry and be pregnant is a blessing, because a lot of people have so much struggle. So
of course,
kind of in itself is like, you know, that should be enough. So.
And really, just having a healthy baby with 10 fingers and toes, you're happy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you hear a lot, especially from people that have had 2 or 3 kids, even 2. So you're done after this? This is it, right?
Right.
Yeah,
everyone wants to get in everyone else's family planning decisions, and it's just one of those things. Like, I think in this day and age, a lot of times, you know, 1 or 2 kids, and that's enough. But more and more women are choosing to have 3 or 4 kids. A while ago, I think maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, there was an article I read that said 3 is the new 2, and then more women were opting to have more than 2 kids. And then also I read another article a few years back that said women of affluence feel comfortable, because it's sort of a sign of, you know, that I'm okay, because a lot of people won't have a lot of children because of the financial burden. But if you're having a lot of kids, it's a sign that I can afford these kids, and I can send them to college, and I can get them all the best things they can get.
It ain't cheap, right?
Yeah, right.
It sure isn't.
No, not at all.
Okay, the names that they pick, that people will pick, sometimes may not go over well with you, but they like them. What are you supposed to say?
Right. You just say that's nice. You know, don't say, well, why did you pick that name, or what were you thinking about when you came up with that, or why did you consider maybe having a symbolic name or naming it after your, you know, they chose a name for the baby, and that's that. You can't do anything about it afterwards. A lot of times, family members, you know, it's a big issue because everyone wants a child named after them, or wants the child named what they want them to be named, and so that's usually an issue with family members. But it's done deal.
Hold your tongue.
Exactly. You skipped the touching the belly.
What's that?
We skipped one.
Oh, go for that.
No, we went off the top with that one, right?
The touching the belly, yeah. A lot of times the person who's asking the question touches before they even get the answer. Like, no, don't touch my belly. And I would tell people, think about the belly itself. This part right here is safe, but when you're getting into that part, at one point that was an intimate portion of her body before she got pregnant. So you think about, you're asking to touch the belly, you know, you might want to hold off.
Wait for that answer before you start touching.
Right.
Good points, Jeneba. Good to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.